I want to invite you to try something radically different right now. For the next few minutes, stop manifesting, stop asking, stop wishing, stop forcing the universe to bend around your timeline. Instead, just notice. Pay attention to what happens inside your body when you think about something you still don't have. The slight tightening in your chest, the knot forming in your stomach, the restless energy in your hands. That contraction isn't just anxiety, it's the control loop. It's the body's way of saying, I only feel safe when I'm in charge. If you can trace that tension to where it begins, maybe behind your ribs, maybe in your throat, maybe in the quiet spaces between your breaths, you can begin dissolving the input that feeds scarcity. You can watch the mind's programming lose its power in real time. Because the opposite of scarcity isn't abundance, it's surrender. Abundance isn't something you attract. It's what rushes in when the need to control finally relaxes. Have you ever noticed how some people can grind endlessly, perfect their craft, chase goals, schedule every moment, and still fall asleep feeling behind? They upgrade everything, their skills, their routines, their discipline, yet that hollow ache never leaves. That emptiness isn't proof that life is unfair. It's evidence that an invisible system is running, a quiet operating code embedded deep in the subconscious. The system doesn't govern what you do. It governs what you see. It filters your perception so that no matter how much progress you make, it never feels like enough. Because scarcity isn't a shortage in the external world. It's an internal frequency built on one ancient instruction. Only trust life when it obeys your plan. At first, that sounds wise, responsible, safe. I'll relax once I have enough savings. I'll feel confident once the job is secure. I'll open my heart when I know they won't leave. Each of these sounds logical, mature even, but beneath them lies a flawed belief system. That proof must come before trust. The universe doesn't work that way. Reality responds to frequency, not fear. When you demand evidence before you trust, you trap yourself in a loop of waiting. Conditional trust goes in, anxiety and control come out, and the result becomes another round of not yet. The system recycles itself endlessly. You end up gathering proof for the very lack you're trying to escape. Most people catch glimpses of this pattern in small, familiar moments. You check your phone expecting a message. It's not there. Instantly, your body contracts. Heart sinks. Mind spins. What went wrong? Did I say too much? Not enough. Then, an hour later, the message finally comes. For a moment, you feel relief. And then emptiness again. That's the loop. You trained your emotions to depend on conditions instead of presence. The same happens with dreams, jobs, relationships, money. You wait for outer validation before inner calm. But the universe doesn't feed that hunger. It mirrors it. The more you demand control, the more evidence you see of instability. Not because life's cruel, but because it's reflecting the vibration you're sending. The brain, meanwhile, is just doing its job. It's wired to protect you through prediction. When something uncertain appears, it interprets that uncertainty as danger. Even positive change, love, success, expansion, feels like a threat if it's unfamiliar. So your nervous system tries to pull you back into the old comfort zone, no matter how limiting it was. The moment your trust rises, your system corrects downward. It's not sabotage, it's homeostasis. The emotional thermostat drags you back to the temperature it knows best. Scarcity. Every loop has a story. Maybe you grew up believing love must be earned. That affection only comes through effort. So you manage, please, overwork, predict. It's not that you don't trust others. It's that your nervous system only trusts control. Or maybe you've faced instability for so long that even when abundance arrives, your body can't relax. The signal of scarcity lingers long after the struggle ends. You've built an identity around vigilance, around never letting go. The truth is, the feeling of being stuck isn't random. It's engineered by the system itself. Every time you think, I'll relax once I know for sure, you reinforce the exact pattern that keeps you from feeling safe. But when you finally see it for what it is, a closed circuit feeding on your attention, everything changes. You stop trying to fix external results and start debugging the program. You catch the moment control sneaks in. before the text, before the email, before you act. That awareness is the moment you start interrupting the loop. Have you ever wondered why sometimes the harder you try, the worse things get? You push harder, plan smarter, double your efforts. Yet somehow, it all feels heavier. That's because effort built on fear doesn't produce movement. It multiplies tension. The more desperate the energy, the more scarcity echoes back. Control looks like discipline, but underneath, it's usually fear wearing a respectable disguise. From the outside, control seems productive. You're organized, punctual, consistent. But inside, each action whispers the same silent mantra: I don't trust this to work unless I manage it myself. Every checklist, every contingency plan becomes proof that you still don't believe life can support you. So you grip tighter, and your system learns that grip equals safety. Before long, you're not steering life, you're strangling it. It's like pulling too hard on a guiding rope. Gentle guidance helps you move forward, but when you panic and start yanking, the rope tightens, locking you in place. You confuse effort with safety and wonder why you're exhausted, but not moving. That's the emotional knot of control. It was meant to protect you, but somewhere along the way, it started protecting your limitations instead. Neuroscience explains this elegantly. Your brain predicts the future based on your past. If your memories are filled with struggle, it assumes struggle equals safety. It scans for evidence that confirms your belief, a phenomenon psychologists call confirmation bias. So when you think life is hard, your mind filters for hardship and deletes ease from your awareness. Emotional homeostasis then drags you back to the familiar emotional climate, even if that climate is misery. This is why people repeat patterns. Relationships that feel identical, jobs that recreate old stress, dynamics that echo old pain. It's not self-sabotage, it's self-preservation. Your mind would rather recycle discomfort it understands than risk comfort it doesn't trust. So even when you want abundance, your system keeps choosing control, because control feels safe. Take a common example. A high achiever pours endless energy into proving their worth. Every success is followed by the same question: was it enough? No matter how much validation they receive, it never satisfies. They switch jobs, chase promotions, relocate, reinvent, but the emotional outcome repeats. Because deep down, the loop isn't about success. It's about seeking permission to feel safe. And that permission never arrives externally. That constant strain has a cost. When control drives your every move, your body runs in perpetual alert mode. Even at rest, your mind is scanning for threats. You can sleep 8 hours and wake up tired because your nervous system never shuts down. That fatigue is not weakness. It's data. It's your body whispering, we can't run on this code anymore. When you begin to read exhaustion, frustration, and anxiety as information rather than failure, the loop becomes transparent. The triggers that once felt like punishments reveal themselves as signals pointing to where trust is missing. The universe isn't blocking you. It's mapping your blind spots. And that's the breakthrough moment. When you stop fighting the pattern and start listening to it. Control isn't evil. It's just overused. It was designed to protect you until safety could come from trust instead of vigilance. Once you see that, you no longer have to dismantle the entire system. You just have to interrupt the input. This is the quiet revolution. The moment conditional trust becomes unconditional. When you no longer need proof to believe that life is working with you, not against you. At that point, the scarcity loop starves. It loses the fuel of fear. Abundance doesn't require harder effort. It requires a different signal. It's not about changing every habit or rewriting every belief. It's about switching the origin point from control to trust. That single shift rewires everything downstream. Unconditional trust sounds easy when everything's flowing, but the real test comes when timing blurs, when the results aren't visible yet. The mind panics. It wants receipts before surrender, but life's flow asks the opposite. Feel safe first, and then the proof arrives. That's not just spiritual talk. It's energetic logic. Safety expands awareness. Fear narrows it. When you feel safe before seeing evidence, your field opens wide enough to notice opportunities that fear would have filtered out. Think of turbulence on a flight. The moment the plane shakes, your instinct is to grip harder, scan the wings, analyze the pilot's silence. But there's an autopilot system quietly stabilizing everything beneath your awareness. It was built for correction, not panic. Trusting life works the same way. When you release manual control, you don't lose safety. You return to it. Notice how your body warns you when you're slipping back into the old mode. Tight shoulders, shallow breath, the rush of, I must fix this now. That contraction isn't failure. It's the alarm bell of the old program reactivating. Instead of reacting, pause. Feel it. Let it move through without responding. Each pause is a new signal. Proof to your system that safety doesn't require control. Systems theory says a small change at a leverage point can transform an entire structure. Trust is that leverage point. You don't need to rewrite your history or force your healing. You simply change where the system takes its first cue from. The moment you trust before proof, the old outputs start recalibrating automatically. At first, it may not look different. The world might still test you. Delays, confusion, mixed signals, all part of the recalibration. But now you don't read them as failure. You read them as evidence that your energy is updating. Proof that the system is learning to run on peace instead of panic. Picture someone who's been stuck in financial drought. They've hustled for months with no return. Then one day, something shifts. They stop pushing. They start aligning. They reach out when it feels light, not desperate. They follow the whisper instead of the plan. And suddenly, the flow returns. A call, a client, a payment long overdue. Nothing magical happened. They simply stopped filtering life through fear, and abundance could finally get through. People often confuse surrender with passivity, but surrender isn't sitting back. It's tuning in. It's shifting from resistance to resonance. When you stop forcing outcomes, your perception expands, and life's timing becomes visible again. You start catching the signals that were always there, guiding you toward what's next. Your choices become cleaner, your actions sharper, not because you're working harder, but because you're working with life's rhythm instead of against it. And then, almost quietly, the entire system transforms. Scarcity stops generating new data. It becomes an echo, a faint memory of how you used to think. Abundance stops being an idea you chase and becomes the atmosphere you live in. You begin to notice synchronicities, conversations that arrive perfectly timed, opportunities that fit like puzzle pieces, confirmations that life has been waiting for your yes. The system no longer runs on effort. It runs on flow. Eventually, you stop seeing yourself as broken or unfinished. You realize you were never lacking. You were just tuned to the wrong frequency. The scarcity system wasn't your enemy. It was your teacher, guiding you back to unconditional trust. It showed you where safety was outsourced, so you could bring it home. And when that understanding sinks in, the myth of lack dissolves completely. You no longer ask, when will it happen? Because you can feel it already forming. You no longer chase because what's meant for you can finally find you. That's the paradox of abundance. The less you demand, the more life delivers. The less you grip, the more grace moves. The moment you stop asking the universe to prove itself, the universe starts reflecting your trust back to you. And then you see, you were never waiting for abundance. Abundance was waiting for you. To stop tightening, to stop proving, to stop performing, and simply let it in. Because in truth, you were never meant to earn it. You were meant to remember it.